Welcome back to the Well and Worthy Life podcast. I'm super excited today. This is launching back on, y'all. I have been gone all summer long, and I'm so glad to be back with you. And I wanted to start this off with a new season because I have got some friends and fellow coaches that are joining me in coaching the Balanced Wellness Method. You guys know Melanie because Melanie coaches Balanced Eating Method with me, and we created that program together. But you may not know Lori, and Lori, we coached another program together, and now I've asked her to come on and coach Balanced Wellness Method with me also. And so we're going to talk all things menopause, perimenopause. We're just going to have a conversation because I can't wait for you guys to meet these girls. So welcome, Lori and Melanie, and I'm going to give y'all each a chance to introduce yourself and give your background. So Melanie, why don't you start?
Sure. I'm Melanie Robertson, and thanks, Deanna, for having us today. Super excited to always talk anything about women's health. As Deanna mentioned, she and I work together on the Balanced Eating Method, and that has been a program that we've been working on for how long, Deanna? Would you say
It took about a year to work on that program, I feel
It
like.
took a year, but I mean, how many sessions have we had?
We've had a lot, probably 5 or 6 sessions, I think.
So we've been doing that, and it's been so successful and so much fun, and we just really have connected with our clients in a way to just work together to help them nourish their bodies and to support each other.
This last summer, you and I together, we worked on another certification, the precision, what is it?
Precision nutrition. Yes.
Yes. Okay. And then?
So Deanna and I both completed that course, Precision Nutrition. And then that led me into, I just love that study because I love taking tests. I love reading. I love to educate myself. And then I love to take a test to see what I've learned. And then what I didn't learn, if I missed those, then I go back and research that a little bit deeper. So that course led me to take a sleep recovery class, and I just finished that. So I'm excited about sharing all the things I've learned in that course. Honestly, Deanna, there's just so much connected there with sleep and all the things that you teach your clients. It just kind of goes together.
Yeah, because we have a whole module in Balanced Wellness Method about stress, and we do talk about sleep, but I'm really excited to bring you on board to go into more depth of some of the things that you learn. You know, I think that's the beauty of taking these courses and certifications is that we learn a lot of information and then we bring it to our clients and we can answer questions that go along with whatever. Not to say that we have all the right answers, because we don't. We're all so different. But I think collectively, and that's what I love about this team, me, you, and Lori, it's like we are collective, and it's better than just having one coach. Now you get 3 coaches. So.
Yeah.
Right. And it just evolved. I mean, I love the beauty of how it just evolved effortlessly. Just effortlessly.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's what I love. And that's my story. So thank you, Deanna. I'm just super excited about it.
Oh, I'm super excited too. So Lori, tell everybody a little bit about you and your background.
Hi, everybody. I'm Lori Carter. I am 52. I have 3 boys. I live in Maine, and next month is our 25th wedding anniversary. Wow. And so my background with fitness and health really started after I had my 3rd child. I really hadn't even been in a gym very often. And I just was like, I need to figure out how to get some energy back, some motivation in my life. So I went to the gym. My husband said, just go ahead, hire a personal trainer. And, he didn't want me working out with him. So I did. I hired a personal trainer, and that's where my life changed. The stronger that I got physically, the stronger I got mentally. And I literally knew within a year, maybe a little bit less, of when I was training with my personal trainer, was that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to help empower women to feel strong mentally and physically. So I took a whole different route in my career. I quit my last job, which was a corporate job, and I went down the health and fitness path, and I became a personal trainer. It's been over 17 years now, a women's health and fitness instructor. So I did a lot of different classes in the gyms. I had my own private studio for a while. And then it kind of evolved more into nutrition, because honestly, when you are a personal trainer, everybody wants to know, what do you eat? So it just evolved into, I need to tap into this a little bit deeper and help people with their nutrition as well. So started to get my nutrition certifications and went down a bunch of different paths with that. And then I also help people, and this is one of the things I'm excited to bring to Balance Wellness as a new coach, is that I'm excited to bring some knowledge about functional movement training. That's a certification that I have that actually hones in on somebody's, maybe if they had an injury, and you know how we compensate, and one side gets stronger than the other, and then next thing you know, the whole body is off. You have muscles that are deconditioned. And so what I did as a personal trainer was I went through a screening. It's seven different movements that you put somebody through, and it helps you build a program that can actually help bring symmetry and balance back to their body for whatever reasons why they're imbalanced. I mean, it can literally be you're carrying your kid on your right hip, or your grandkid or your dog or whatever. And so just those movements that you do every day, we tend to get out of alignment really easily. Injuries are a huge thing. And so I'm really excited to be able to bring my knowledge, not just with nutrition and as a macro coach and a health coach, but also in the fitness realm, and be able to help people kind of bring some motivation and balance back to their life.
Oh, I love that. And it's so funny that you say this functional movement stuff, because I do think I hear this from all of my clients, that when we hit that perimenopause, menopause, we have more aches and pains. I was just talking to somebody earlier today. She's like, I have to have dry needling in my shoulder, and I do this, and I'm like, oh, I understand. My back is tight. I mean, all the things. And so I do think that is part of going through all of our transitions in life, is that we do have more aches and pains. But the worst thing that we can do is quit moving. We have to keep moving.
Absolutely.
And I learned that the hard way.
So true.
Yeah, the body's meant to move. It's not meant to be sedentary.
Right.
It's not how we were created.
Yes, yes. Well, like I said, I'm super excited. I think that the three of us together is going to be just another asset, another way to help women our age to feel their best. I mean, because, at this point in my life, I always say this, I definitely want to look my best, but feeling my best is the main thing. And that's not just, that is mindset, that's body, that's spirit, that's everything. It's, we have, that's why in that first week of Balance Wellness Method, we talk about mindset and morning routines and all that stuff. And then we move into nourishment and the strategies that we can use at this stage of our life, but really eating whole foods, right? And then we move into hormone health, which is a whole nother big animal in itself. I took a 6-month course on hormone health. I mean, it's a long course, so much information. And I even did a podcast that's coming up this season. I cannot wait for you all to hear it, with the gutsy gynecologist. And we talked about how perimenopause is lasting so much longer than it used to. So I can't wait for all of y'all to listen on that one. And then, so hormone health, and then that movement, which Lori's going to take us on that journey, and then stress. And there's where Melanie's going to step in and really help us dive a little bit deeper. And just so you know, we have weekly Zoom calls in every week in Balance Wellness Method. But
there's that community support and the fact that we're helping each other and we're learning together, because let's face it, I don't know everything. That's why I want to take tests and learn more. And I learned from you, Deanna, and I learned from you, Lori, and I learned from all the clients that we have. That's what I love too, is just that support of women together, encouraging each other. And hey, have you tried this? Because
Right.
everybody's different, and it's so wonderful to have each other to just connect with.
Yeah, I
To
love it
me,
too.
yeah, I think really that's where the magic happens is in that group setting. I started out doing one-on-one coaching, and I don't do any more one-on-one coaching because I have seen the power of a group and a group of like-minded women together, helping each other and supporting one another during this journey of life and the second half of life, and how some people dread it, but man, I'm here to tell you it can be great, right?
Yes.
It'd be great.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
we have to do things a little differently.
absolutely. And, good point when you're talking about like-minded women, because, you mentioned in the beginning that you and I used to coach a different program, and, there's a plethora of ages, when you're just kind of jumping into any sort of program. And when I came to Balance Wellness as a client, I was looking for something specific. I'm at 52. I can't relate to a 30-year-old anymore. I'm at a different phase, different things, just working through different aspects of my life. They're not going to understand my menopause, and I'm going to not understand their energy anymore because I don't have that same amount. But, this group coming over here has really, knowing that the women are over 40, you really feel like it's a safe place to share when we get on our Zoom calls, and I can see everybody loves them. People show up all the time. They're always, I know I'm excited to be there, and I know you guys are, but when the clients show up too, it's like you can see they want to engage, they want to talk, they want to share their story. And just like you pointed out, Melanie, to be able to share those tips, because we all, none of us know everything, but collectively it's a great force to be reckoned with, to have as much information as our clients do, as we as coaches. It's a wonderful community to be part of when you are like-minded, but in the same age group too.
Right. So true.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I'm just really excited about sharing more with everybody. And let's talk about a little bit about our own journey. I mean, for me, when I was entered my 40s, when I was 40, and I think I've shared maybe on this podcast before, I can't remember, but when I turned 40, I was going through a really nasty divorce. It was not a real fun time in my life, I would have to say. But honestly, looking back now, I can see some of the signs that were there, and I wasn't taking care of myself the way, I should be. Because let's face it, I mean, I had kids still at home. I was going through a nasty divorce. I was in survival mode. But had I known what I know today, I could have changed some scripts up a little bit. I could have done things a little differently. I don't know. I mean, I'm not ever one that looks back at regret, but I think that being aware and knowing some of the things that we share just empowers you. I wasn't really paying attention to what I was eating. I was moving my body. That wasn't a problem for me because I love that. Everybody doesn't love that, but I really wasn't paying attention to my food and how my food made me feel. And I sure didn't have a great mindset. I didn't have a good morning routine. I just was surviving. And then even after I got out of my divorce, because that took a while, again, just surviving. And it wasn't until I hit my 50s that really the thing that really woke me up and said, wait a minute, what's going on, was this belly fat all of a sudden. And it should have been other things that, my sleep was disrupted, all the other things that was going on. But I mean, the belly fat, I was like, wait, what is this? So that was really what kind of got me going and really starting to think about, I got to get rid of this belly fat. But it was so much more than that, which I didn't even understand at that point. All I could think about at that moment was that belly fat. And now what I've learned is eating for nourishment, eating for to feel my best. I'm really paying attention to how food makes me feel, moving my body the way, not just going through the motions, right? But really moving intentionally, being intentional about life, really, again, getting that mindset right, that morning routine and the sleep routine and the nighttime routine and learning how to deal with stress, because stress is inevitable. It's going to be there. It's not going away. And actually, studies have shown that as we get older, we are under more stress than ever before. So we're not going to get rid of it. So how are we going to deal with it and again have that energy and feel our best and have that longevity in life? I had somebody tell me recently, well, I said my big reason why was because I wanted to live a long, healthy life. Both my parents had died younger than I thought they should. And she said, well, my mindset's the opposite. I figure I'm going to die anyway, young, because my parents did. So why not eat whatever I want, do whatever I want? And I said, no, just because our genes are one way, we have more power than that. Just because our genes read one way, that doesn't mean, in fact, the statistics, I can't remember the exact, I want to say like we can turn that around. Like there's a 70% chance you can turn that around. I mean, it's a big percentage.
True.
Yeah. Yeah. Even like you said, you don't have control over the genes, but a lot on the outside that we do, we can't throw in the white towel.
And Deanna, what I think is so crazy is my story is just so opposite from yours. I was eating healthy. I was doing everything, exercising. I have been an avid exerciser since I gained the freshman 15 in college. I pretty much started when I couldn't button my pants on the way home from college freshman year to see my parents. And I walked in the door and my dad said, "What have you done?" And I said, "I know." And no lie, he held me accountable. And I said, "I know." And funny thing is, he had just bought a treadmill for our home, and I literally started running. I started on that treadmill, getting on that treadmill, just visiting. But then as I went into the transition of my early 40s, working out really hard, still working out, but I'm seeing just how much harder it is to maintain my figure. And I was like, wait a minute. So that's when my coach, he said, it's 90%, 80 to 90% of what you eat. Yes, exercise is healthy and great for you, but what you put in your mouth is really unhealthy, really healthy, the cornerstone for that. So, and I was drinking chocolate milk more than I should and eating some Chick-fil-A fries and those kind of things. So, and then the hormones really starting to come into play. And that's when I said, you know what, you've got to go and get those hormones checked. So I did that. And that really, really took me in a different direction as far as my health was concerned.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Lori, your story's completely different than ours.
Yeah, I had a hysterectomy at 42, and unbeknownst to me, I'm just kind of going through the motions of what was suggested to me at the time, and unbeknownst to me, that's really when my hormones started to change. And I didn't realize that 10 years later, my body could no longer compensate with what was going on after the hysterectomy. And, last fall, I feel like the biggest thing that I noticed was my motivation. I just had none. And being a trainer for as long as I have, like, I've loved fitness, and I couldn't get myself out of bed. I was like, what is going on? When I remember when I had my blood work done, just because, obviously I figured I was probably coming into menopause. The average age is 51 and I was 51. So, I figured, but, I did want to see my numbers. I was curious, we know that we don't have to do that to know. I mean, you can woman knows with all the symptoms that go on, but I did want to know some other numbers and such. And I remember when she laid it all out for me, the hormone doctor, I cried. I mean, I shed tears and I didn't understand why I was shedding tears. And she said to me, because you're being validated. It was like, okay, yeah, I knew something was up, I just didn't know what.
Yes,
so,
that's the validation. Woo!
yeah,
So
yeah.
good.
Validation I didn't even know I needed though. You know what I mean? I was just,
Yeah.
and then over the winter, I tried HRT and I know, that's a big thing out there and it works for probably millions of women. It really didn't work for me. I just had some side effects that were just, I was uncomfortable with. So I moved on from that. And that's really at the point that I started talking to Deanna, and because we're kind of in that same age group. And I figured maybe she's got some secret sauce that I don't know about. And so I reached out to her. She was sweet enough to talk to me on a long car ride she was on. And she just talked about the resources that her program offered. And I decided at that point, this is the program that I wanted to come on board with, because things that she was saying and resources that I could tap into and some tips and things like that, I thought, oh my gosh, I can do this. I can do this. And so I just started to really peel back. I know you ladies have heard this. I've often described this as my onion. Like I just start peeling back all these layers. What is my nighttime routine? What's my daytime routine? How, what am I eating? Pay attention to what I'm eating. Just like you said, Deanna, I did all of the things and it changed completely. The winter was a lot of trial and error. It was a pain in the butt. It really was. But I was willing to do that. And that's what I want to really help women moving forward. Like if you're really willing to find out and help navigate through maybe some different types of fitness that you haven't tried yet, to get rid of that, that belly fat we all complain about, but also really paying attention to your nutrition and your sleep and everything, and kind of go about it that way and peel back those layers. And then we can start putting it back in one by one. And I'll tell you, it's life-changing, because I'm managing my menopause symptoms, hot flashes, and I don't have night sweats so much anymore. I kind of had those more after the hysterectomy, but anxiety for sure. I know I've talked to poor Deanna about this a lot, like in my anxious moments. These are things that obviously, even like the anxiety, I never dealt with before in my life. I never had anxiety before, just like normal stuff, your kids are bugging you or whatever. And this was different. And I knew it and I felt it. And it was getting heart palpitations and just all this stuff. So, different tips and tricks, if you're willing to just peel back the onion and come back in layer by layer, I'll tell you, you can manage it. And I'm not saying everybody, I'm certainly not putting everybody, in one basket, but I think a lot of us can manage it with nutrition, fitness, positive mindset, looking at menopause as, we dread it, it's just, you don't feel your best. So if we can, like Deanna was saying earlier, like flip the script and apply different strategies and different tips, I'll tell you, it really can make all the difference, and you can thrive instead of just surviving through menopause.
Right. I find that so many of my friends, they just want to stay in the bed. Like they're just, that's the hardest part. And like you said, you've lost your motivation,
Yeah.
and that's what I love. We can support each other and, get up. The worst thing you can do is lay in bed. Movement, nutrition, all these things work together for stress. Cortisol levels, as we know, that's the stress hormone. Where does that go? Straight to the belly.
Yeah,
That's your belly
that's
fat.
exactly right.
That's your layer of belly fat right there.
Yes, exactly. But here's the thing, and for everybody who's listening out there, you've heard from 3 women, and each one of us have had different stories, and you probably have a different story yourself. because we're not all alike. And so there's not one program that's going to be a cookie cutter program, right? I mean, that's just not going to work for everyone. There are some things that you will learn, and kind of like Lori said, it's like stripping away the onion and then putting it layer by layer and creating your own plan that works for you. It's not what works for your sister. It's not what works for your best friend. It's what works for you, because we're all so different. And we like different foods. We like different movements. We handle stress differently. Our mindset, some people are naturally optimistic. Some people are naturally glasses half full. So it's a range, but I mean, that's what we do together. And so, like I said, I'm really excited, but I'm really excited about this season of the podcast. I've got a lot of great guests coming on, and some solo episodes and some episodes with Melanie and Lori that we will just be discussing life together. You know, life isn't easy always. Sometimes it's easier than other. One of the things I always say is good times pass. I love my good times. They do pass. And the bad times pass too. And we all have them. There's nobody that has this perfect life. There's no quick pill that's going to get you skinny and energy and all the stuff. You have to do the work, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it in the end. And so I encourage you to follow along with us, to join us in Balanced Wellness Method if that's what you want to. If you have any questions about it, feel free to message me, message Lori, message Melanie, any of us. We're happy to discuss it with you, to get on a phone call with you, to see if this is the right program for you. And then if you just have any questions about where you are in life and what's going on, we're here to answer those questions. If you think of something that you want to hear us talk about on the podcast, send it our way. We'd love to hear. And y'all, if you're listening to this, you may not know this, but we're on YouTube too. So you can get all of this if you just want to watch us on the podcast instead of just listen. You can go to YouTube and see it all there. Okay, Lori, Melanie, anything else we should leave them with before we go? Nope.
You know, I think if you're listening to this, I think that just if you're feeling overwhelmed, like, okay, I got to start with eating right and I got to get my mind right now, just start with one thing.
Yeah.
Just
One
start
thing.
with one thing. Just,
So true, Lori.
just walk. That's I forced myself, like, you know, Melanie said, your friend just lay in bed. That was me. And I'm not gonna lie, I forced myself to walk. I just walked. I got on my treadmill in the winter, and by the time spring came, and I would go 15 minutes, and then it turned into 30, and then I started
love
adding in
this.
just one thing.
Yes.
You know, let me ask you something. Just like you said, just do one thing. Don't overstress yourself, because tiny habits add up.
Yes.
Little movement in the morning is going to get your serotonin levels.
Yes.
Start feeling better. I don't know about you guys, but before we hit the record button this morning, we were talking about that it's gloomy. It's gloomy here. It's gloomy in Maine. It's gloomy in Mississippi, Birmingham. Okay. It's rainy here. I did not want to move today. I was feeling blah. Honestly, I was feeling down. Just that one thing. And I said, no, go to the gym. You will see people. You will move. You will feel better. I did.
Yep.
So
You've been smiling the whole time.
you got to do, and like you go to your happy place. You go to your little
Mhm.
gym, do your routine. You turn on your music. Boom, you feel better, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, I hear people all the time. Just one more thing before we go is that motivation. And you can't wait for a feeling of motivation, because that probably is not going to come. So take
Especially in
action.
menopause.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So just take action, because the feeling of motivation will follow the action.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
even if it's for 5 minutes, it doesn't have to be this long, drawn out thing. And I love the thing of just start small. Pick one
Right.
thing. Start
Yeah.
One
small.
thing, 15 minutes, start small.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our tip of the day.
That's right. That's right. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'm super glad that y'all are here joining me to coach Balanced Wellness Method. We're going to have so much fun. We've got a session coming up September 12th. So as you're listening to this, you can probably sign up. So just look in the show notes. But Lori and Melanie, thank you so much for joining me on this podcast.
Thank
Loved
you.
it. Thank
Deanna.
you.